Thank you so much for coming. It's great to be back, and it's beautiful to see so many faces that I'm getting to know and really like and love. I am here to try and do my best to be part of healing this world. And there are some areas in this world that are very dark, very, very dark, and they're affecting our lives in so many ways that most of us have no idea about. So one of the ways I'm trying to contribute is to expose the methods that are being used against us. These are covert methods, meaning they're not supposed to be visible. So I'm doing everything I can to become like a light, a spotlight that will go into the darkest of corner and just totally expose whatever I can. I'm just an ordinary guy. I have absolutely no idea about the whole picture sometimes, but what I try to do is uncover as many details as possible. Some of the things I'm going to point out will be not correct, maybe. I don't know. I was not part of these operations, but there is a lot of these things that I hope that you will see for yourself that, this is a bit of a stinky bomb here. I'm not here to thrive in awful images of atrocities and dead bodies, and so because I'm a conspiracy researcher and I love conspiracies. Absolutely not. The whole idea is for us to move forward into a beautiful next level, a level of forgiveness, compassion, and so on, so that we can create a world the way it's meant to be, in balance, harmony, and so on. But we are at a time in history where people who look for peace, who work for peace, harmony, love, and these things are the new terrorists. You're looking at one here. I have been labeled that. I've been tracked down by security forces. I've been threatened, death threats, subtle ones, but still death threats. I've been threatened by being arrested. And I feel I do not step on ants. I'm kind to children. I'm loving to my partner. There's something wrong here. Something very wrong. And it's not only here, but it's there, and in Spain, and in the US, and it's globally. So, my intention was, since that is what I promised, when I was asked to come here again, which I was very, very honored to be, I thought that I was going to talk about Charlie Hebdo and Copenhagen, the Copenhagen shooting that I was publicly able to predict 1 month before it happened. Not because I've got a crystal ball, but because the people behind these operations are not very clever, and they do not have a lot of different methods. This is not I'm not saying that as an insult. I'm saying that it's like, I really pity them, because it's almost like if you were given the task to make 50 different Rambo films and do variations, and the audience was not supposed to know that I'm the same author, producer, with the same actors. Not easy. I mean, what can you change? Weak guy gets strong, up against major enemy, up against all different odds, wins, hallelujah baby, and that's it. I mean, how many variations are there? And here we are in a world where a few people, or whatever they are, I am confused. They have said, we are so much better than the rest of you, useless eater, their quote. So we will just totally control you and do whatever we will. We, the controlling part, are in the thousands. You are billions. How can we control you? And the answer is through fear. What they do is they create an outer enemy so that they can scare the living bejesus out of us, so that we will say, oh my God, we need protection, and then we can serve that to you. So I was going to talk about a lot of different operations going on globally, which I would very much suggest that they are totally connected. Totally. But I would like to focus on one thing that I have become very passionate about, because no one else seems to be looking into this one. The awful atrocity that happened in our neighboring country, Norway, some years ago. It is an incredible example of how it can happen right in front of us, in clear view, hidden right in front of our eyes, and nobody reacts. The level of us being asleep is just above me. I do not get it. How can we be so asleep, and how can we allow these things to happen? Time to wakey up, I would say. Anyway, so, by the way, my name is Ole Dammegård, and I go under another name. I was given a name this morning called Billy Bob Stinker, because because I was telling them how I proposed to my sweetheart, and it totally backfired. I'm so not good at romance, I'm sorry. And anyway, I spent some 30 years of my life doing, to a major extent, trying to expose top-level assassinations, false flag operation, and terror attacks. I thought many of these were totally separated, that I had no idea that there was any kind of thing connecting them. I thought that I was living in a world filled with Muslim terrorists running around screaming Allah Akbar, wanting to blow things up, myself included, and so on. But I've come to a totally different understanding over these many years. My awakening started in the early 80s when I became very, very interested in the JFK assassination, where it was the first time I saw the so-called Zapruder film, which is the one where there's this old guy filming the motorcade coming, where you see the shots being fired and you see the final shot, boom, head backwards to the left. This was way before internet, it was way before the JFK movie and many of these things. So I had no idea about these things, but then when I saw the final shot, boom, and throwing the head back into the left, being blamed as someone that was up there in a totally different direction with a tree in between, with an awful gun, how did he do it? It was so obvious that it was a total lie, and this was like 21 years after it happened. And it was being pumped, this lie was being pumped through media, through so many major channels, the same lie that was so obvious that like a brain-dead individual would be able to, with an IQ of 10, meaning that you can feel the difference between hot and cold water, they could figure it out. And still, that was the story. I just felt, this is not on. I need to find out what's going on. So I started really digging into it on an incredible level. I got totally obsessed. I read, I don't know, maybe a couple of 100 books. Everything I could get hold of. I went to the States trying to find people. I went to England trying to find books and so on, and really did everything I could. And the more I came into the multi-layer of these conspiracies started to appear. So that got me very interested in the Martin Luther King assassination as well. Another beautiful man that was standing up for the things that I think are the ones that we should stand up. I mean, he was not a violent man. He was just doing everything he could also to create a perfect, wonderful world in harmony. I mean, these are people we really should honor. And they were so young. Like this guy, I think he was 39 when they took him out. He was like 46. This guy, I can't even know, I'm not really sure how old he was. They were all standing up for the same. Like Gandhi, like Lady Di, like many others. And then the more I dug into these assassinations, after a while I started seeing that there was such a clear pattern of how they were carried out. It was almost like, you know, when you make a pie, you need water, you need the I'm not good in the kitchen, but different things. You need the same things. You can change the taste and smell of the whole thing, but it's still a pie. And with these assassinations, they were carried out very similar, not maybe in the street level, how the different angles of how they were killed, but the lone crazy guy and the an investigation that was totally useless, worthless, seemingly incapable of finding the truth and only blocking it, followed by commissions that were there only to bore you to death and then give you 1,000 pages of absolute useless information just so that you would go, oh God, I can't take anymore, and forget it and leave it. That kept repeating. So I saw this pattern and I felt, what is going on here? And then, boom, the Swedish Prime Minister was killed as well. So I was born here, my body was born in Denmark, I grew up in Sweden. Living in a country, I thought, this is the perfect country in the world, democracy. There's no violence, I can trust everyone, the police is a nice guy, the Prime Minister takes his bicycle without bodyguards. I mean, pure wonder, the paradise of the world, and taking care of all the weak people and countries in the world. So I was so fortunate growing up there. So I thought when he died, very tragic, not a very nice person in my opinion, but thank God I'm in Sweden, the Swedish police will make an investigation and they will find the killer. And then time started going on and on and on, and I started seeing the exact same pattern as these ones. And I felt, this is not on. How is that possible? How is that possible that they're using the exact same template if they're not connected? So that, when I started seeing the same, I had like 20 odd years of head start with the other one, so I could see more or less, okay, this is what they've done there, same here, okay. So if I'm correct, this is what will happen next in Sweden. I can't remember what it was. It was some kind. 2 weeks later, the exact same thing that by checking the list, I mean, I'm not talking about a physical list, I found just similarities. I said, this is going to be the next thing. Boom, that is exactly what happened. It blew me away. My whole world just eroded in front of my eyes because everything I believed in just went down the drain because I just didn't get it. Anyway, we're talking about terrorism and so on. I just wanted to say this is the way I got into this dark world, because what happened after Palme was assassinated, I just said, need to go there, need to be there. My brother and I went up the day after the assassination. He was even one of the people that they later interrogated, I mean, trying to find a patsy. And I just devoted everything I could, spent like 12 years looking into that, got very deep into finding out the real truth, too deep, if you ask the people behind it. And so it ended up with 2 of my friends that are no longer with us. They died in mysterious circumstances. I had a visit at home, freaked me out. And I decided to leave Sweden because I thought better to be alive than statistics. So I've been living in Spain some 15 years now. But since then, a lot of things has happened. And one of them is that the so-called terrorism has just accelerated. So now suddenly I'm in a world filled with mad terrorists, blowing up things, mass shootings. I mean, there's so many crazy kids walking around with automatic guns doing exactly the same thing again and again and again and again. So I decided to try and find out what this was all about, and what is coming up all the time is false flag terrorism. So what is a false flag terror act, or what is false flags? It's an old naval term that means boats, that in the old days, if you were like British or Dutch or Spanish, you wanted to go to some poor little country and you wanted to totally rape and plunder the place. But if you did that, you could have problems with your neighboring countries, maybe, trade deals and stuff like that. So you didn't do that because it's not nice to be like a rapist, and it doesn't really work so well. So instead, what they did, that they took this poor little country's flag, put it on one of their own ships, turned that ship against themselves, attacked them, saying, oh my God, we're under attack, we need to defend ourselves. And then that justified rape, plunder, death, destruction, and everybody else was applauding the hero. Oh, poor guy, you were really under attack. when you look at these things, these so-called justified wars and all of these things, these false flags are being used on a level you cannot even imagine if you have not started digging into it. And more or less every single time, these attacks are like, I would describe it, it's like if you send in Mike Tyson into a nursing home or a daycare center, and Mike Tyson totally wiped the floor with these kids, banging them, knocking them over because they had peed in the corner. That is the level of imbalance that we are supposed to believe. So, when I'm talking about the messes they have, good for us, unfortunate for them, they're not that many. They do not have a lot of options because they need to get us shit scared. So how do they do that? There's only so many ways you can do it, because how do you freak people out? The Romans, many years ago, they were the ones coming up with a way. Problem, reaction, solution. This is the recipe that is controlling our lives to such an extent. How does it work? It works like this. Everybody is happy, everybody is free, everybody do and think what they want. You cannot control them. You try and take a flock of sheep and try to say, go right, not easy. They will go all over the place if you cannot control them by fear, something that will keep them together and so on. We are exactly the same. So what they do, problem, reaction, solution. I will go into more details who they are, but the people in so-called top of the power pyramid, they secretly create a problem. Nowadays, it's upgraded over the years, so it's more or less all the time a bomb. They love drama. Bomb, virus, financial collapse, mass shooting, assassination, something like that. It needs drama, smoke, explosions, all of this, because we're too used to all of these things. So they need to upgrade it all the time to freak us out. So a problem to get a reaction. The reaction they want is like, ah! That is the one they want. A situation where we do not use this one, but we use this one. We go totally emotional into like freak out mode. Help me! I need to be saved from this outer threat. And then I, who they do not know, secretly created the problem, can go in on stage and say, "But dear little population, if you have this massive problem, I totally understand that you're so scared. I will offer you the solution." And we will then say, "Oh, come, great Savior, enter my life and totally control me." Because problem, reaction, solution, the solution that they are every time offering us is something we would never, ever have accepted had it not been for the problem. This is used on so many different areas in life. I tell you, I am now in a situation in my life where I get a lot of strange emails, I tell you, but some really interesting as well. And a while ago, I got from Hell's Angels saying that they're sitting watching my talks about false flag operation. I was like, what? And I thought that was excellent. No, I mean, I love these bearded guys. They freak me out at times, but they say we are the victims of false flag operations. We are being blamed for these things. They do something totally like that and blame a bearded guy on a motorbike. What can they do? They say, there's no way well, I was there with my motorbike, but I didn't really do it. It doesn't work, you know? And recently, I know in the States, they had 2 biker gangs. They arranged for the meeting, and they were surrounded by snipers. So these 2 biker gangs, I think it was in the US, were totally wiped out. I think there was 9 people killed, all of them by snipers, and there was pumped out gang war among the biker gangs. I've also got emails from immigrant youth, young people in Sweden and so on, saying, listen, we're being blamed for burning cars and doing riots and stuff. We didn't do it. No, I know you didn't. And they're watching these talks about that. And it's just on so many different levels that people are waking up. I even get emails or contact from people from Stay Behind, the Gladio network, saying, we have been totally duped. We thought we were doing something good, and here we are being totally used, which I think is amazing, because there's this awakening going on that is just... So, problem, reaction, solution. So, Norway, it's a very happy country, it's a very nice country, and a perfect place to get a reaction, because the nicer it is, if something really awful happens, oh my God, it's so awful. Had it happened in Sudan, nobody would have cared. When it happened, this is not to laugh about, because it's really so awful when you think of it. How can one life be something worth more than another? It's like, come on, pigment, get a life. Anyway, so the official story, if you don't remember what happened, it's more or less 4 years ago. It was on the 22nd of July. This gentleman, his name, Anders Behring Breivik. Now this guy is a monster. This is what they look. They would run, but I mean, we've seen so many different Muslims and so dark black guys. You're running out of options with them. So if you haven't noticed, like, global terror has now changed its face, so that from Muslims and blacks and all of these, they're running out of options. That is why ISIS is always having a very European body type of size and an English accent from time to time. But otherwise than that, of course, Muslims from Arabic countries, but they're wearing masks, because otherwise you would see that they're not really who they say they are. And by the way, sponsored by Toyota. If you have not noticed, when it comes to these things, they use product placement nowadays as well. Look in the image, Puma. It's always filmed by GoPro camera. All of the terror acts, including filmed by the own terrorists, GoPro camera. I need to get one of those. And you have Puma, you got, I tell you, you show me one image of ISIS where there's not a Toyota car in it. If there's a vehicle, Toyota. And I don't know, this might be very unfair, but the founder of Toyota used to be into clothes making a lot of clothes. And, well, whoever makes clothes for ISIS, at least they don't have to have arguments about the color. So we have this guy, 32-year-old, no record of anything, very nice guy, everybody loved him, a bit of a loner, and so on. So he got upset. He thought, my God, Norway are accepting people from other countries. I am so angry. So what I will do is, how can I make a statement? I will blow up the government, and then I will go to a small little island and kill more people in the history of the world than anywhere else since the Second World War. That is sort of, I would come up with the exact same idea had I been upset. Okay, but that is, as everybody, you got free will, you can do good, you can do bad, and that is apparently what he chose to do. So the official story is that he got very inspired by Oklahoma City. Please, when I mention Oklahoma City, that is a total black op, that one. So do not trust anything of the official story, in my humble opinion. So when I do comparison, we're talking about another not correct version. But anyway, he thought this is the way to go forward. It's always nice with blowing up things. So he put this into 2 chapters. So I will talk like in 2 chapters. One, I go blow up the government because they are so not doing what they're supposed to do, which is saying bye-bye all foreigners. And then the second part is that he goes to this little island. It's a heart-shaped, beautiful island out about almost an hour's drive northwest of Oslo. I just came back from there, where the youth party of Norway had a summer camp. There was more than 550 teenagers there, and then he went loose he was dressed like a police officer, and he just went on a total massacre tour, left undisturbed for more than 1 hour, slaughtering children. Chapter 2. So this is the chapter 1. And you will see here that he did exactly like Timothy McVeigh is said to have done in Oklahoma City. He got himself the recipe to make a fertilizer bomb. Then he hired a van. It is the van you see there. And it was 950 kilos. He put it in the back and drove it. He had 2 rental cars. He drove that one, parked it outside the government building, left the building dressed as a police uniform, helmet, shield, glass shield, gun in the hand. That's what you always do in central Oslo. And then walked away without being stopped, got into the second rental van, a smaller one, and went to the island, picked out the guns, took the small little ferry over to and started murdering people. So Friday afternoon, nice way of spending the end of the summer holidays. Anyway, so this is when he comes. I hope I can get this working. Here he comes. There he parks. This is the government building. It's a 15-story high building. He places the car right there. They say inside, okay, is it potatoes being delivered or are we having carrots today? And then he leaves the car. That's the guy. And take off. Dressed in a police uniform with a helmet, all of these things, pistol in his hand. Why would anyone even react? So, these are the surveillance from the cameras. Unfortunately, I'm sorry to say, they did not work when the car exploded, so we don't have any images of that. It's very unlucky. It really is. I mean, the chances of this happening again and again and again. You see Lady Diana. I mean, I'm very sorry. 14 cameras in a row around the tunnel did not work. Such bad luck. Pentagon, sorry, just the most guarded building in the world. No, didn't work. I'm very sorry. There was a gas station close by, though, that had a camera that filmed something that didn't even look like an airplane, but that was lucky. Okay, so here, I'm going to use the same map here so you get some kind of feeling for the area, because it's very important to see that. So here we have the government building, 15-story high. It's standing like a in the center of Oslo. And this is the front of the building. This is the back of the building. This is where the bomb was positioned. This is where he came driving, parked the car, got out, walked this way, over the bridge and over. Then he took the other rental van and took off towards the island. And it's said that somehow he had a remote to blow up the bomb. This is also connected to the government, and here's the High Court of Oslo. These streets are very, very important in the presentation of this. So please keep in mind, I will keep repeating the same map again and again and again. This is where one of the main newspapers in Norway is, VG it's called, and also where TV networks and so on are. So, here he is. Let's be discreet. You see, gun in his hand, helmet. I mean, why would anyone even react? And by the way, very few people, I would say. It's only Friday afternoon, but oh, sorry. And by the way, no, there was no one there. Not even in the buildings. I mean, Friday afternoon, 3:20. So, around 3:22, it's very, very lucky, though, that they know the exact time, not only from when the explosion went off, but also because there's this clock in the center of the city that was nothing else was damaged in the surroundings, but that what do you call it, the round thing with this one in the background, a piece of that was blown out at the exact same minutes, showing the exact minute, 189 minutes when this whole drama was going on. That piece was blown out, and now it's in a museum, so you can see it's a symbol of the drama. Okay, I'm not being sarcastic for no reason. I think you will understand while we go on that there are some very odd things going on. So here is the bomb. Here is the bomb from another angle, and the bomb, and another one. I just want to say you're going to see the live footage from these cameras, and normally cameras, when you have a bomb, when you place a bomb close to it, if you see that, I've tried myself, it's the same as if you take the camera and you do like this. Very often it stops working. These cameras do not. We're just talking about a major, major explosion here, which might be something else than we thought it is. So here is the government building, the front of it, the back of it. This is where the car is said to be parked, and you will now see the explosion. Boom! Did you see it here? But see on that side as well. Do you see? Woof. Okay, this is from a different angle. Please see, and this is another one. This is what it looked afterwards. Lots of people lying everywhere. Not. There's a lot of paper though. So we see what I did not show you there is that in the building behind it, maybe I should go back and show you again. If we play that again, you have a thing with a bomb. It has a very specific way of doing things. If I'm the bomb now, and I will get very angry and explode, I will throw things out in all directions equally. Because I have no judgment, I would throw it in all different directions. So there will be a boom. And most of the time there will be a crater underneath me. So you will see, when there's a car bomb in Baghdad or something like that, that you got all the things thrown out and so on. But if there is something in the way, a wall, a ceiling, another vehicle or something like that, will lessen the damages behind that. It will sort of cover the blast and so on. So especially if you got like a massive big building in between, then the building behind it shouldn't really be damaged. Well, strangely enough, the one, here you see, boom, the camera is still working, and then here, boom, boom again. Then when you see this one coming here, this one shouldn't be damaged at all. And when you take this in slow motion, you will see that the fire, boom, explosion, and then it moves inside the building all the way through. And I will play this to you again. Please also see that if I'm a bomb and there's a glass window there, my question to you is, I'm explosives, glass, which way will the glass go? Could I suggest maybe inside that building? I build my life and my research on Farmer Brown logic. 1 + 1 = 2. That's it. Doesn't matter if somebody in a fancy white robe comes and tells me it's 34. If they try to push that down my throat, I know they're lying, and they're lying for a reason. Okay, so we have the next one. This is what happened right after, the minutes or seconds afterwards. Total devastation. But look at the rubble. It's all even, well, it's not easy to see here. But it's totally evenly all over the place. It's not blown away, it's not nothing, but you can see major, major damage. That's where the car was parked. But can you see there's the rubble? It's nothing. The whole area has just been absolutely massacred. Is there volume on this one? Can I turn the volume up on this one? Thank you. There one vehicle that has been blown to the side. I mean, absolute mayhem when you look at it. Can you see the amount of people everywhere? It's just incredible. Officially, thousands of people ran away. There's only like 999 missing in this one. So, really horrific scenes here. When you look at false flag terrorism nowadays, in the old days, you blew up real people, you killed real people to get the emotion, and then they could move in with a solution. Then after I would say after 9/11, they started understanding that mothers are a pain in the butt. Mothers of dead children, do not mess with them, because if they lose their child, they will not back down. They will breathe down your neck until they find the truth of what happened to their child. You start killing a lot of people, you have a lot of pissed off mothers behind you. Major problem, because then you can't sort of just walk around and do what you want. You have to deal with them and come up with lies and documents and fake investigations, about what actually happened, and then not easy. So I would say after 9/11 they learned their lesson. That was like several thousand mothers, not nice. So they came to a point, and I have this from insiders from the CIA, Chip Tatum, one of them, a CIA whistleblower who was part of false flags before. And he said it came to a point where they just said, we need to be able to control all parameters. We need to be able to check everything and be in control of info out, in control of everything, including the victims, including the whatever carries out, the people coming, saving, the families being interviewed, everything, so that we can totally control it. That is when enter on stage crisis actors. Crisis actors are people that are really good at lying, screaming in the street with ketchup all over themselves, looking, I am dead, I am not dead, but I'm being humped away without a leg, or something like that. So it looks really good in media, because media is what they pump it out through. We see it. How do we see it? Were we there? No, through this black box. So after 9/11, I would say they really started going big time for crisis actors, and this is where they need to have as small group as possible. And this is why you see they keep using the same people. I mean, come on, guys, what is that? So sorry, she was a headmaster here. No, sorry, she was blown up there. Here's a dead child in Sandy Hook. No, sorry, 4 days later in the lap of Obama. Sorry, Noah Post, a 6-year-old, blown up, no, killed in Sandy Hook. Then suddenly 2 years later, he was killed in Peshawar in Pakistan. I mean, it's amazing the health of these people. It really makes you believe in reincarnation. And then, anyway, so it has come to a point, I would say, that they kill real people because they need that for credibility. They need real dead bodies. These dead bodies are more or less always so-called not important people. You know, it's people working in the kitchen, bodyguards, chauffeurs, drivers, whatever, in the reception, these type of people. Disposable, collateral damage. They're just easy, but they're needed. At the same time, you also need to control the impact you're getting. Chip Tatum said they had staff meetings, very cold. I mean, it's business as usual in their world. Staff meetings before and right after these false flags. These staff meetings were, what is it we're trying to accomplish? Okay, we want to totally freak them out so that we can just call in martial law, get some more surveillance cameras, 4 more billions for whatever crap they want to, or scanners or whatever it is. So they carry it out, and right after the event, they have a follow-up staff meeting saying, did we accomplish what we wanted? No, okay, blow up another one. This is where you see, like, for instance, at the Woolwich beheading, if you remember that, the English soldier that was beheaded, one of my absolute all-time favorites. So badly pulled off. I mean, really. So that didn't really work. So what did they do? Boom! A more or less identical thing happened within 24 hours in Paris. That is the way they pump it up, and then people say, and then they bought you. So they started, I would suggest, to use real victims, but then also they need to control the impact through media, crisis actors, because they need blood, they need horrific scenes, they need to be able to show, oh, this is a leg, oh, this is a dead baby. By the way, the ones that get to your heart, women and children, that's the one. Doesn't work with blown up tractors, cows, or old guys. No, no, no. Women and children, that's the way to get to you. So please be aware. And very often these children, that before they get killed, they write these notes. Please don't hurt us. I mean, yeah, okay. So I believe that on one side of the government building, you had real victims. I believe that on the other side, on the so-called front side, that is where suddenly you will discover people that made the headlines globally with horrific injuries, then suddenly back at work 2 days later. So I believe this poor lady, real victim, this guy I'm not totally sure about, this guy I believe was a real one, absolute crisis actor, this woman, just a groupie. So, official story, he blew up this thing, and so you have to come, I try to come to a crime scene with an open mind. So many people nowadays wrote false flag as soon as they even feel a fart in the air. Not true. You need to, for credibility as well, if you're in my position nowadays, I really need to see if I can prove or show as much possible facts and evidences as possible. So, Farmer Brown logic, check out what happened. Things that did not match up. Okay, so this is where the car is said to have been. You see that instead of having most damages here, and then less and less and less and less, which would be natural from an explosion, it's evenly all windows except up here, you can't see them. There are 4 windows that are whole. These were from the Justice Department, bulletproof windows. That's the only reason. All of them equally blown away. And in the whole area around, windows totally blown out like this. Also, I'm not sure about this, but as far as I can see on the first photos, and some researchers have said as well, this crater was not there. It was only first when people started, wasn't the car there? Shouldn't there be some kind of like that? Then suddenly, this is from a car bomb in Baghdad. Can you see? It's like burned edges, gun smoke, powder, all of these things, and a very even color. This is the one that appeared in Oslo. Very clean, almost like cut out, almost like a hammer bomb, bomb, bomb. So also, when I look at I've looked at so many different ones, and one of the things you will notice is that if they have something to hide, some evidence that they really want to get rid of, like Building 7 or something like that, they must make sure that they blow it up. If something goes wrong, at least that place where the evidence was needs to be destroyed. This area, nothing, there's no fire, there's no nothing, just glass, except that building. Except the truck was down here, the fire is up there. Okay, that was the oil and energy department. And Norway is a major nation in the world when it comes to oil. Not sure, I would very much suggest that this one could be a possible bomb, possible additional bomb, or a set fire and so on. Also, when the fire brigade finally came there, they started moving. There's one other car, there's one blown up car there and another vehicle here up on the pavement. So of course, since there was a fire there, they totally focused on towing the car, because you can see it's so blocking the whole area. So they were totally focused on moving that vehicle. I think I've got images of it. Like this, all the fire brigade, we're doing a lot of stuff. When it comes to these operations, just because they have a uniform, please do not believe who they are. Uniforms are totally one part of cheating the eye. Okay, so here is the position of the bomb again, government building, 15-story high, the High Court, and here is the oil and energy department. That is exactly where it happened. The fire. Also notice, please, there's a lot of smoke over Oslo this day. And if you look at 9/11, where in my humble opinion, I know some people do not agree, but there were some kind of high energy weapon used in combination with several other ways of destroying the building. There's a lot of smoke because these buildings were to a large extent dustified. They were turned into dust. We have a lot of dust going on in Oslo as well, a lot of smoke, and it's said to come from that tiny little fire there. You look at the picture of the whole of Oslo, this massive big smoke cloud. Okay, so one guy who was filmed by his friend came to rescue these poor people that were blown up. It was the 22nd of July, it was Friday afternoon, and it was in the summer holiday, so of course there shouldn't be as many as normal. But I think at least some should be there. So
Terrorbomben har akkurat gått av når denne mannen springer gjennom S-bygget i regjeringskvartalet. De dramatiske minuttene rett etter angrepet er filmet av Johan Christian Tandberg, som selv gikk inn i bygget for å lete etter overlevende. Mannen som springer heter Lafkiri Khalid og jobber i Helse- og omsorgsdepartementet.
I'm not saying anything about this guy. I have absolutely no idea. But if you were trying to save someone, would you run after with a mobile filming just the back of your friend? I'm not saying I have no idea, just pointing a little bit. But that is the image. They did not find anyone, or a very, very, very few. And everybody was so relieved that so few people had been killed and so on. Now we have a bit of a problem. Because when there's an explosion, normally you have a sound, you know? Normally, big bomb, big sound. Well, the people that were very close to this building, working in restaurants and so on, they didn't hear any sound at all. There were no sound whatsoever. And there's a bachelor party being filmed at Karl Johan, which is one of the main streets not far away. They're just filming, you know, whoa, 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 like this. And suddenly you just hear all this glass fall. And it's not like people are like, whoa, jumping for cover, all of these things. Many people just keep walking and sort of like looking, what the hell, where's the glass coming from? And then the camera goes up and you see smoke coming over the rooftops. Then, when you talk to witnesses, I also got recordings from the outskirts of Oslo, people filming themselves in the park and so on, and suddenly you hear what sounds like a thunder, something like that. But in the center, no sound. Sorry. Yeah, it doesn't matter. The sound, the testimonials about the sound, very, very different. Then also, when you look at this, please watch that door. Remember, I'm explosive. I would say windows into the building, doors into the building, and so on. And then Farmer Brown comes and sees this. Please watch that door. Do you see what I'm saying? It comes again. Okay. So we go to the next one. This is what you saw everywhere. Is there something wrong with these images? A bit of the glass, where is it? It's on the outside. Same phenomena everywhere. So many of the wounded were hit by this glass coming. Odd. Okay, so where the car was parked was here. By the way, the car totally exploded. It disappeared. It disintegrated. Some people say that that is the engine. I don't know, but that the engine is there. But the whole vehicle is gone. Okay, but above it, do you see that? In my world, that looks like melted cheese. I mean, this is concrete. There is destruction done to the underneath it, so maybe that is what this. But this is concrete, and I think that is odd. This is melted rock from under the Twin Towers. Here, this is where the car is said to have stood, and just have a look at that. This is what they've left. They built the whole thing very nicely. Very odd that they didn't fill the whole thing up. Why did they leave that? And this, exactly like this, inside the museum. They've just opened a 22nd of July museum in just to the right of here. And inside that building, you will see what is left officially of the bomb, the car, and the roof is this one. And when you look into many of these assassinations and false flags and so on, you will see that they leave a lot of symbolism around it. The date, the time, the pyramid, the obelisk, and so on. So I have no idea if this is by coincidence, but it's there, it's in the museum. So when you look at the bomb and whatever is left, oh, it's so awful. And you look right up on the pyramid shapes. I'm just pointing it out. So, why were there no people? It was so lucky. Well, one of the reasons was that the streets were closed off in one end. This is while the fire is still on. Can you see? Closed off, not easy access. Here is the police officer, or whoever it was, that walks away. Yeah, and this one, it's bad quality, but that is a roadblock. But also there are vehicles further down the street that are parked double like that, so nobody could enter the area. Okay, so one man that I really admire, his name was Fletcher Prouty. He was working at the Pentagon, super high up in the CIA, involved in many black ops, overtakes of innocent countries and so on. And he is the guy that is portrayed by Donald Sutherland in the movie JFK. This man in the movie JFK explains exactly the magnitude of power and things that was involved behind the killing of JFK. And he said, this is him, Fletcher Prouty, he's no longer with us unfortunately. He said, being an expert, being one of the ones that used to carry it out, he said, when you look at these operations, do not focus on what happened solely, look at what did not happen. We're talking cameras not working, bodyguards suddenly not appearing for jobs, people not coming to their jobs in the Twin Tower. It's all of these things that do not happen. It's like when you see a black op, you will see that if I, for instance, go downtown here and I throw a beer bottle in a window, I can guarantee you within a few minutes there will be police there, I will be stopped, I will be whatever. You kill a president, I'm sorry, everything goes into stand down mode. Nothing happens until the people who did it get away, and then they rush in and they make like an iron chain cover up or closed off area. They will look in all the wrong locations and point at the patsy. That is what happened. So he said, make sure that you see and notice what did not happen. So unfortunately, here is the fire station, here's the bomb. I would say pretty easy to get there quickly. No, why are you laughing? It's disrespectful, you know. So the fire station being there, you think that and we're there. No, very sorry. Because of the explosion, all of the carports at the fire station were blocked. They couldn't get it up. They could not get out. And they forgot to mention that there were 2 fire trucks outside that has been filmed, but they couldn't go there either. So So unfortunately, there were only 4 or 5, depending on who you trust, police on duty in central Oslo. It is only the capital of Norway in the middle of holidays with loads and loads of tourists and so on. We're talking 4 or 5. Unfortunately, it was an unlucky day. Unfortunately, 2 of them were guarding the American, the US, and the Israeli embassy. It's like, who could have ever thought? Unfortunately, the alarm PC that has the whole alarm system connected to these type of things were turned off. That was very unlucky. And unfortunately, a few weeks before this happened, the police in Oslo had been asked to give in all their gear, all their weapons, everything, no apparent reason. So it was locked in a locker in the main police station. Unfortunately, only allowed to be open when there were 2 officers there, and unfortunately, they were on holiday. So the police, when the worst terror event in the history of the world almost happened, unfortunately, the Norwegian police had to go there with no arms, no nothing, whatever. And unfortunately, unfortunately, the mobile network was blown up by this immense implosion. So the mobile network didn't work. That was also very unfortunate. I just want to say that, by the way, I mean, I don't know, similarities, should we really notice? But when JFK was murdered, the national telephone system went down for 1 solid hour, the whole nation. And they say, oh, it was everybody called each other, say, are you okay? Or did you hear that JFK was shot? Okay, same 9/11, it just went totally blank. Same again, 7/7, the 7 bombings in London, in Madrid, suddenly, boom, it just goes down. I would say maybe it's because it's shut down so that they can control all different outlets of information and control the version that they want out there. Oi, what did I do? So unfortunately, did I say that before? Unfortunately, the police had to communicate with the different units with fax. I get goosebumps. It is so... They were using faxes to reach each other, to say, a bomb has blown up, please come and help. Well, unfortunately, the helicopter crew, that would be quite handy to use in a situation like that, maybe because also that the van had been observed by a person saying, it's a bit strange that a police officer with a helmet and a glass shield in front with a pistol and something else in his hand left that car and got into another car. That was a bit odd, so he wrote down the number and phoned the police after this happened, saying, listen, I saw this odd guy. Unfortunately, that note was put aside. They found that afterwards. Anyway, unfortunately, the helicopter crew, that would have been very handy to have, maybe if you've seen the vehicle leave the area. By the way, he left the area on a road that was a one-way road turning into against the traffic, the official story. But in this unfortunate day, this helicopter crew had been given 4 weeks of extra holiday, so they were on holiday. Why? To save money. That is so good, because when you check their budget from the year before, they had $22.7 billion in unused funds. So thank God that they saved some money. So the night before this whole thing happened, people, unidentified people in black uniforms were observed in the area. They have never been identified. And I just want to say that when you make a pie, the false flag version pie, a drill is a reoccurring thing all the time. The reason for these drills are, I would say, that they need to get vehicles in position, explosives in position, they need to get crisis actors, they need to close off the roads, and they do not want us normal people to get in the way. So they have drills saying, for your security, we have a security drill here, back off and leave us alone. That is it. And this very day, there were several drills that was carried out the days upcoming to this whole event. One of them finished like 22 minutes before the exact same thing went live. It's like I'm starting to see some kind of a pattern here. Delta team, we will talk more about them later. I just want to say that Norway is not known to be, I mean, like an uneducated, undeveloped country. They are highly respected in NATO, which they were one of the founding nations of. Their soldiers are highly respected in many different areas, and they put a lot of budget into anti-terror preparations. So it's very unfortunate that they had to use faxes this day. So, am I boring you? No. Okay. So, right after this happened, a TV crew came, oh my God, something has happened. They're filming like this, and what do they meet? They meet this. This is the bomb. This is the TV2 Norwegian. And here we have military police coming running. There's 3 or 5 of them. I'm not sure if these are soldiers as well. Can you see red berets, blue gloves, and what are they doing? They're picking up did you see it? An electric wire. They call the TV crew, they tell them to back off, and they pick off this cable. I'm going to play it again for you. No people here, go away, you horrible cameraman. And here, let's do what we're here to do, pick up these cables. Okay, that is what you normally do when your government building has just been blown up. I mean, why even go and look for what actually happened or something like that? But these guys in red berets, we will get back to. Strange vehicles. You see that vehicle? Here is the High Court. That is not a parking space. They parked that one right outside, and this vehicle disappears right after. Seconds after these soldiers are there getting this whole thing, that vehicle is no longer there when you start comparing the images. Same with that one. But then instead, on the other side of the corner, an identical vehicle. I would suggest that that one is the same one that has just been moved around this corner. Do you see that? That is there. Okay, that is there, and that disappears right away. So these soldiers here, please notice, absolutely 0 people, and this is where the government building is, this is where the fire, and so on. These military guys appears again in the area when I would say crisis actors. Okay, and many of the police officers in that area, and ambulance crew, and people in uniform, that's what I'm saying, keep having the same blue gloves. I would say that could be an indication that somehow they're connected. And by the way, this thing they have on their arm saying MP is not what the normal military police have. They normally have different letters and so on. But this is what the police special units have, but without the MP. It's sort of like a mix of uniforms that I want to point out. So this is where the bomb went off. This is where you see these one picks up. The vehicle was driven like this. This is where they suddenly appear. Okay, this was where he parked the car, and this is where it was later. Do you get the feeling for the map? So because I repeat the same. Okay. These soldiers were, I think that these are the guys, were later interviewed in a soldier newspaper. So I do believe that these might be the real ones. There's a few research. I just want to say, I am, as far as I know, one of 3 researchers looking into this more or less at all. There's no one in Norway except Hans Gaarder, a journalist. He's not even a journalist, but he's writing on a Norwegian website called Nyhetsspeilet. He has done incredible work, and I owe a lot of this to him, and another anonymous guy called Dammegård. These are the only ones I know that seriously has looked into this. At the same time, on a weekly basis in Norway, they're being pumped with the official story. The patsy, the patsy, the patsy, the patsy, the patsy, the patsy, the patsy. And I'm sure that Judith has heard that Lee Oswald killed Kennedy more than once. It is by repetition. It is like, do you know the drink Coca-Cola? How do they do it? It's like, this is your brain. Coca-Cola. 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 Keep repeating, and are you feeling thirsty yet? Coca-Cola. That is how they do it. Listen to the news as well. Terrorism, terrorism, Islam, terror state, terrorism, crime, terrorism, terror. They use these trigger words. They do not variate them. Okay, so of course there's no more soldiers around that area. Yes, there is. I've noticed that I found these 3 guys in camouflage uniforms. Not saying that they're involved, I'm just pointing them out. 3 with identical suitcases, and this guy, Mr. Forth, has the identical suitcase as well. I found them on another street corner, which is where the crisis actors are, and they're there looking at the destruction afterwards. They were here, and in another location. This is where the bomb was. So seconds after the explosion, let's see what it looks like. Did anyone see anything in particular? Sorry? Thank you, Judith. You have good eyes. I know you have, but you are a good observer. Let's just get this. We're talking seconds after the explosion. I'm sorry, questions afterwards, please. This is a bypasser. It's a very good question, because when you see these videos taken by normal people, be aware, because just because the camera is shaking does not mean that it's not people involved in the operation trying to show you their version. But just like Judith so intelligently pointed out, that guy that was on the corner, did you notice him? I'm standing here, I've never experienced anything of terrorism in my whole life. Government building is blown up like that. And what is the guy saying? It's still falling. You could hear they're still falling things down and like that. He's like, people come running. He said, yeah, blew it up over there. Have a look there. Watching down the corner where these other soldiers were. I would say coordinated. These are, when you look at these things, they always have coordinators in different areas that can interact or stop people doing interfering or whatever, but mostly just checking. So we look at this guy again. Please observe him. The immense terror and shock, the state of shock he's in. There he is. I'm so freaked out. Look, he's looking straight down to the corner where the soldiers are. The MP, military police, that have been running that street down now. He's still totally not interested. And then, oh, what happened? Oh, they just blew up the government building, don't worry. Okay, I would say military coordinator. When they blew up the bomb in London, the bus, do you remember the different subways, boom, 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 and then the bus? One guy that was on the bus, when he came out, the bomb went off, and he was like coming out just before the bomb came up. He saw this military guy, like identical, like on the pavement. Then boom, the bomb went off, and when he came out, stumbling out like this, there were already people with bandages waiting on the pavements. Real victims, crisis actors. Okay, so this guy, I would very much like to know, who are you? Check this out. He has a very distinct blue jacket with this yellow-red thing on the shoulder. Crew cut. Could it be a soldier? I do not know. Same guy, some of the victims and the people rescuing them looking very much like soldiers or militaries, some kind of militaries. This is the bomb. This is where he is. Can you see there's a lot of things going on in this corner? This was where there was less damage, and this is where the real victims are. Safety because of the building, real victims because of necessity, collateral damage. So who is this woman who came out very close to the other guy? She comes out. She's got a name tag. She's got a walkie-talkie. She goes to the guy filming, the exact same guy filming, saying, back off, you're not allowed to film here." This woman, as far as I know, have never been identified. Hello, sweetheart. And the uniform that she's using is not an official uniform. It's like a mix between the fire brigade and the police. It's the colors. I'm relying that info on people in Norway. I do not know myself. But this is what they say. You see the lack of people as well? There's a few coming here now. It's only central Oslo. That position looked quite a familiar area. So we go to the next. Okay, so the soldiers here, picking up the wire. Please notice this plastic going all the way. It goes all the way along the whole street. Okay? When you look at these false flag and different military operations, one of the things they love is road work, road blocks, plastic covered, scaffolding, these type of things. Why? Perfect camouflage. Nobody notices road work. It's just somebody's doing something in a uniform. Why even bother? I would very much suggest cover. That's where they cover the extras, the crisis actors, the military, the explosives, all of these things. So this, you see here, this is where the soldiers were, and this is where that is. Here, whole area dug up, because on the inside of this, there was a whole long area like this, dug up in the street, all the way towards the government building and so on. That had been going on for a long, long time. Here, but you see, here's where the car comes. Here is this ditch that I'm talking about that is walked all the way up till here where the bomb is parked. And afterwards, when they clear it up, can you see this? So afterwards, when the whole thing was going on and blah, 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 it appeared that there were some secret cables that they were not allowed to dig up. The whole idea with this ditch is said to have been that they wanted to be able to check that trucks could not come with explosives to the government building. So they wanted to dig down sensors so that you can feel the difference between a real truck and a truck with a bomb. But what they did when they started digging this thing, unfortunately, they got into what they say was a lot of secret cables that was connected to the government building security system. So they couldn't finish it. I have spoken to people when it comes to direct weapon technology, which I know very little about, but they say one of the things that what they need is to get like a magnetic field around the target. I would very much suggest that this, what we're seeing with these ditches, with these cables and so on, could be part of creating a magnetic field at the target area so that whatever was used for an implosion, this is part of it. Welcome to the world of crisis actors.
It's the 13th such drill the school district has staged in the past year. And the victims are students, all volunteers.
We heard the banging and all of that, so I mean, we knew that they were there and we had to be really quiet, and it was just really nerve-wracking.
I was just thinking of places I would hide or run if in the scenario that had ever happened. I couldn't think of any.
And thanks to a new law beginning this year, all school staff members in Missouri will be legally required to participate in active shooter response training. And schools all across the country, from Texas to Indiana to Oregon, have staged the kind of drill you are seeing here.
It definitely felt real.
I was like, help me.
Looks pretty real to me. Not easy to tell the difference nowadays. So, the miracle woman. On the back of the building where the damages or injuries was not so severe, this woman she has been identified by name. I have tried to track her down. I have not been able to find her more than one single photo of her. Okay, but she is carried away looking pretty awful. This guy was running around with blue gloves before this happened and so on. If you see that, we're talking about roadblocks, plastic coverage. What is that container there? Just pointing it out. I have no idea. And look there. What is he having in his pocket? This guy worked for the government. He said he had just finished his job, so he was going to go out on town and take a lot of photos with a quite advanced camera. Suddenly he's in this whole thing with something in his bag that could be, if you look at the Boston bombing, for instance, there were all of these blood canisters and blood bags and so on, theater blood, spread all over the place together with smoke machines and so on. So I'm just pointing out, I'm very sorry if I point this guy out. I'm pointing out things. Could be that he had been shopping candy for his kids. I do not know. Position of Miracle Woman looks a bit similar. And now I welcome you into the world of my world, where I get like, whoa, hang on a second. Miracle Woman, this is the images that was pumped out all over the world. Did they take photos of the real victims? No, they were not blood enough. Did they take photos of the cover of the Miracle Girl? She was named Miracle Woman or Miracle Girl in the news. And these two, all of them working for the government. Natural if you were in that building. Anyway, so we have especially these two. Her name is Sissel Vilsgaard. She was 62. And this woman, Line Nernes. Okay, so I would say that is a severe cut. I would say that is a very severe cut. Thank God she didn't mess up her hair. But it is a lot of blood, okay? And this woman found herself with a 30-centimeter spike sticking out of her head. Okay. So this is awful. I mean, if this is real, awful, awful. And these are the images that were spread all over the globe. So, still photos, very impressive. I managed to track down other sources. So, position a bomb, cover girls. And here is how they came. Explosion, boom, all of these things. Then suddenly, these two women were led from here. Then they started walking this way. Then they walked all this way, and until they ended up here, where they were filmed and all of these things. They were taking photos of them while doing it. And there were an ambulance or two there. Sorry, 3. No, sorry, 4. 5 and 6 ambulances there. So of course, if you got like a 30 centimeter thing sticking out of your brain, ambulance, please help me. Okay, so here we are, footage that I managed to find. The same soldiers, blue gloves, that were there, are now helping with the victims on the same street corner where all of this happened, on the back or the front of the building. Okay, so prepare yourself for some true horror, especially if I can start the video. Ambulance. This ambulance. Rod sticking out of the head. Please have a seat. Are you okay? No, I've got something in my hair. Okay, so what should we do? What should we do? What should we do? We stop a bus. Let's stop a bus. We stop a bus. So we take them on the bus. So many passengers there already. So, dear Mrs. Rod, are you okay? Can you handle a bus ride? Oh, they ask her, are you okay? Can you walk? I think so. So, oh, thank God. Oh. But then, notice, had you not seen the video, only the images, you would have been terrified and said, oh God. By the way, I'll get back to that. But just for security, the bus was then escorted by an ambulance just to make sure that they were okay. There's no need for you to see it again, is there? But I just want to point out that, did you see the guy that was checking the hair? I mean, she was really trying to stop the bleeding, holding whatever cut. She got between 60 and 70 stitches in her face afterwards. So I was sort of like, no. And the medic came running up to her asking, can I check your pulse? That is what she's doing. He is checking her pulse. She's there, totally cut to pieces. He is checking her pulse, while the other one is sitting with the rod sticking out of her head. I don't know about you, but if I had a rod sticking out of my head, I would be somewhat concerned and not move too much. No, I'll take a walk. Camera, camera, thank you. Yes, I know, ambulance, 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 I'll take a walk. Can somebody please stop the bus over there? I mean, come on. But she was so traumatized that she went back to work 2 weeks later because she needed to get back. You know, it was therapy for her to get back. So, dear Sissel Vilsgaard, here you are. This is what you looked afterwards. Yes, awful, awful. And this is at the whole court case. She's doing pretty good. I'm not being rude to these people. They are loyal. I think that they're doing the right thing, that they're part of something good and great and so on. Because these operations are totally compartmentalized. Nobody knows the whole picture. Everybody just knows their little part. And they're also being rewarded in many different ways. Are you ready for chapter 2, or do you want a little break in between? Okay. While you're taking can we do it like because time is limited, just 5 minutes, and you who wants to stay back, I have this false flag for dummies. It's a woman called Dolores Flores who's made an incredible good thing if you want to take over the world and need to know how to accomplish false flags.
So you've decided to take up ruling the world. Congratulations! Now, before you get started, it's important to learn about false flags. They are an essential component in controlling popular opinion. False flags will help to keep everyone too afraid to ask questions. The only thing they will be asking for is for more government to keep them safe. False flags are also great in getting support for unpopular, unjust wars. Now let's get started. Step 1. Create a vague enemy like terrorists. If the public does not seem content with a vague title like this, consider something more specific like ISIS. If that accidentally sheds light on who your allies really are, don't worry. Most people don't read or research, and if they do, you can simply call them nutbags. Step 2. Use many different ways to refer to the enemy. For example, change ISIS to ISIL to IS to Muslim extremists to Muslim jihadists. You get the idea. Confusion is a key ingredient to every efficient false flag, so it's best to prepare those minds in advance. Step 3. Pick a location. Choose a city that has new legislation already written up and ready to go. After the false flag, you and your world-ruling friends can swoop in and save the day with new oppressive laws. The public will feel safe and everyone wins. Step 4. Fake shootings are a simple go-to source of fear and mind control. Set up a patsy with anticipation so that you can later refer to his troubled past. Step 5. Prepare for your false flag with drills. With a few small changes, the day of your planned event you can present your drill as real. If anyone finds out about the drills beforehand, don't worry. The public believes in coincidences and will be amazed but not suspicious. Step 6. For propaganda purposes, it is best to name your event with something that has a nice ring. 9/11 is a good example. It will be sealed in the minds of the masses forever. Try words that start with the same letter as your chosen city, like Boston bombing or Sydney siege. Also try catchy names like Jihadi John and Jihadi Jake. Step 7. It is best to kill, or pretend to kill the patsy when your event is finished. This will ensure that nobody will try to reach them for more information on what really happened. Step 8. Get some actors. Everybody loves a good story with heroes, neighbors, love affairs, good Samaritans. Get creative. It is best if they have prior acting experience and ties to the government. This will make them good liars and motivated to keep your secret. Step 9. If your time or budget does not allow for a live setting, simply create an event in a studio or remote location. Film and carefully edit with special effects, and then pass off as raw footage. Nobody will question this. Step 10. Use and monitor social media. Get feel-good hashtags like #NotAfraid, #JeSuiCharlie. You can later flash these around at your pre-planned peace march. Following this easy 10-step process, you are on your way to creating your very own false flag for public mind control. It's easy and anyone can do it, provided you have unlimited funds, a dumbed-down population and a pool of sellouts who will be willing players in your scheme. Creating a false flag will be an essential part of your complete world domination. Remember, fear is your friend.
Basiru? I think so, yeah. Dolores Flores is her, I don't know who she is. I don't know if you saw, but part of that video was the warning I had about Copenhagen. So she Tusind tak. Der lyd? Der lyd? Whoa. Listen guys, can I ask everybody to come back if you're interested, because we're running after schedule and somebody has kicked me butt. Also, if I can ask that there will be no question and answers here. I'm available all day long, anything I can answer, please, but not because I am dragging out and I've got a lot. That was chapter 1, now we come to the island. So there's a lot to cover. Really good video, isn't it? Yeah, it's good for you next time you want to take control of the world. Please keep in mind that I was in Norway a month ago. It is the official story. I have been warned to go there and talk about these things. I was even, we're going to say hello to the Delta team, I was even almost arrested by one of the members of the Delta team, saying I was not welcome at this island. I could choose to leave the area or I would be arrested. And just see, no one, not the families of the victims, no one is reacting. No one is looking into this. And I would say once again, if you look at the things, I hope I managed to show you some details that will make you go, whoa, there's something odd going on here. You should look into this, that type of feeling. If not, I failed very badly. Is everyone back? Okay. So, the beautiful island of Utøya. Thank you for your patience, by the way. It is a heart-shaped island that has been used by the AUF, the Labour Party, as a youth camp for many, many years. And it's located about an hour's drive northwest of Oslo. It is in a beautiful area. You can see the fjord around, or the lakes around, and so on. And it's very close to the mainland. It's only like 600 meters from the mainland out there. There's one ferry going that can take one vehicle and about 50 passengers in total without the vehicle. So, on that island this summer there was about 550 teenagers. Most of them were between 14 and 17 years old. I mean, kids, really. They were having a great time there. And they were not expecting anything. Then, on that very dark Friday, the 22nd of July, 2011, this awful thing happened in Oslo. So the children here, or the kids here, heard about it on radio and so on, and the whole thing went out, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. So some of them, since they were connected to the Labour Party, had parents and so in the government buildings and so on. So they said, we want to go home, let us go to Oslo. No one, as far as I know, was allowed to leave the island, because they said, no, you will be more safe here. Stay on the island. Okay, so the way the story goes is that Anders Behring Breivik, after blowing up the government building, went straight to this island. Unfortunately, there was a major traffic accident that blocked the road, but he still managed to get there. Good guy, good driver. And he came to this ferry landing where in the uniform he had like a wetsuit type of thing with a police emblem on the shoulder and military or police trousers. He had a very heavy bag, like a big suitcase or even bigger that weighed a lot, and he was carrying a rifle. He introduced himself as Martin Nielsen and that he was part of PST, which is the security police of Norway. I think the same in Denmark, the same name. And so there was a lady here, Monica Bøse, who were in charge of the island. She heard that the police officer was coming, so she came with a ferry crossing to meet him. She met up with him. They helped to carry this heavy bag or heavy case on board of the ferry, and then they started going to the island. On the way there, she asked one of her the people helping her, to please give me the exact number of people on the island now. Don't know why she did that, but that's what she did. So they came to the island and they walked up, the policeman and the woman walked up to this. This is the main building on Utøya. So the policeman and she came up there, and then the security guard that was working extra that day came to meet them. His name was Trond Berntsen, I think. And while they were standing talking, suddenly the police officer pulls out a gun, they turn around and he shoots them both in the back. Boom, boom, execution style, boom. So these two people are murdered right in the front of a lot of teenagers like that. Now it turns out that the guard, one of the absolute, if not the absolute first victim on the island, was the stepbrother of the Norwegian princess. Could be a coincidence, could be a very violent message as well. That's the princess, and that's the first victim. From that time, total panic erupted. There were teenagers running everywhere trying to hide, because he just started walking around with a rifle, boom, 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 like this, and then went up, headshot, headshot, headshot. Come on, he was calling people out. It's safe, the police is here, don't worry. There was a young girl that came up to say, but please identify yourself. Boom, he killed her too. They were running, boom, people were jumping into the water trying to leave the island. He was like targeting, boom, boom, killing them in the water. They were running all over trying to hide among the rocks, in buildings, under beds, everywhere they were trying to. This continued for more than 1 hour. That is 60 minutes, that is 60 seconds per minute, where he was walking boom, 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 boom. Every minute, people being slaughtered. Your children, my children, it could have been anyone. While he was doing that, they say he was extremely calm, he was walking around, no stress, no. People said he was even laughing at times and so on. And he was, you can see him here. Wait, sorry, I managed to. You can see this is said to be him. This is at the reconstruction, this is Anders Breivik, and here are some of his victims being found afterwards. So they say that here is where the ferry came, and then he started walking around shooting. He blew up a bomb there, just killing people everywhere he saw. Thank God this was in Norway with all these special troops and Delta groups and massive budgets used on anti-terrorism, because you will see now a top global elite force moving in and taking out this guy. One man against unarmed teenagers, children. Some of the victims. So, at that time in history, 2011, quite a few teenagers had mobile phones. So they panicked and started calling the police saying, my God, they're killing us here, please come. But unfortunately, the police didn't believe them. They said, or whoever answered the phone, They said that, no, we're very busy with Norway, so could you please call back and stop bothering us? They also said, please call your parents because we do not trust you. We cannot believe that what you're saying is true, so call your parents and get your parents to call us. So hundreds of kids were calling their parents, hundreds of parents were calling the police, and it was totally blocking the terminal, the telephone communication system, so very, very few people got through. Some parents managed to get through. They were met by what they say, a very arrogant attitude, saying, yes, yes, why do you bother us, more or less. And then at one point they were told that, don't worry, we're on our way in air, by car and by boat. So unfortunately, all of these hundreds of distress calls never got through. Unfortunately, this was a very unlucky day. There were police units in nearby cities, Bjärum and Drammen. They were not used because they were told, no need for you. Unfortunately, one of the special units, cars, that was made especially for special ops and anti-whatever, the car battery was dead. Major problem. So they needed to find cables and a new battery. Please remember, every single minute that this is delayed, people die. At the same time, the more death, the more impact. Cold, cold way of seeing things. Well, Sweden in the wrong place. This is the ferry, the infamous ferry MS Torbjörn. This is the island, that's the beautiful island and the main building. This is where the ferry comes and lands and so on. This ferry used to be a military vessel, so it's got armored plates on the side and it's made for rescue operations or invasions or whatever with troops. You see, it's not very big. You can have one vehicle or 50 or more passengers. So, what happened this day on MS Torbjörn is a bit of a question mark. Because when the shooting started, we had the leader of the youth party, Eskil Pedersen. When you are a leader of a group, I think it would be a good idea to live by example, maybe be the one leading or helping or something like this. Now, Eskil Pedersen, he thought, because he got a mobile phone call that said, get on the boat and get out of here. So he said, let's hijack the ferry and take off, which he did, together with a captain. The captain was the one that took the weapons when the police came, put it in his van, drove it on the back of the main building. He then returned into the main building, and when the shooting started, he, Eskil Pedersen, his media advisor, and I'm trying to identify the others. There were a total of 9 people jumped on this ferry. Did they try to rescue the teenagers that were swimming in the water being shot at? No. But of course they went straight from there to the ferry landing here, so that the police or other people could come and rescue or help or whatever. Sorry. We go like this, and of course we'd go straight north. So they go straight north, and then they say that they could not even hear the shooting. There are so many different variations of what happened there, but the ferry just went into neutral and was drifting around there while Eskil Pedersen, this guy, was making phone calls to different people in the government saying, we're being shot at, we're all of these things. They could not hear the shooting, but they were being shot at. And then they decided, let's do the right thing. So they did, and they went straight north about 3 kilometers. Then they rammed the ferry up on shore. Totally neutral. It could not be used. Full speed. And then they took off and went to Hönefors police station, where they stayed for more than 5 hours while all of this was happening. Because unfortunately, the police could not transport them back because they didn't have a car. Or a car to spare. This is Utøya. This is the ferry landing. You see the distance. And this is, of course, the way you would go with a ferry and then ram it up here. Anyway, unfortunately, on this unfortunate day, the Delta team and the more advanced special troops had a new digital system called Tetra. And unfortunately, it didn't work with the analog system, so they could not communicate with the local police or the normal police. Thank God they invested in some high-tech gear. Well, unfortunately, there was a helicopter crew that said, my God, we're ready to take off, we've got a sharpshooter, we can take him out in a few minutes. Well, unfortunately, someone, I'm still trying to track down who gave the order, told them to stand down. I mean, no, but really, when you think of people are being, it really gets to me, you know. Oh. Stand down. Okay, unfortunately, I'm getting a sore throat. Unfortunately, the Netcom telephone central had a relay that unfortunately was not working, so most of the calls to the police station was unfortunately diverted to the wrong police station. So unfortunately, the Bell 720 very advanced helicopters at the military base north of this place, all of them were without fuel. Now I, being a simple man with a simple mind, would say, fill them up and get your ass in gear, God, I mean, no, unfortunately, they were delayed for more than 1 hour. Now, since we are in NATO and spend absolute billions and millions for these guys, these are the guys from the Delta team. They came, rescue team, we are on our way and now we're gonna kill the bad guy. So they come like full speed towards the ferry from Oslo, because they were involved in the whole thing around Oslo and the drill there. So they came, but unfortunately they missed where the ferry landing is. So they passed that one and they went north to a camping site, which is just, it's 800 meters north of that. So thank God they went straight, because what they needed was a boat to get to the island and take the guy out, neutralize and terminate him, stop the killing. So what did they do? Here they are. Armored car, that's the island, not far. Well, they ask, where's Utøya? There's a girl, nobody, I mean, come on, give them some slack. So they ask, where's Utøya? The girl points, it's that island. So what do? They go totally north, 8.3 kilometers. Okay, so here is Utøya, the landing. Here is the camping. So where should we get a boat? Why don't we go there? They're only the most advanced troops in Norway. Anti-terror drill practiced. I mean, they just did a drill with a similar scenario. So, of course, they didn't have a boat. And at the camping, by the way, there were many boats, privately owned, and these boats, there was in total I think about 37 boats that were out there rescuing kids trying to swim while being shot at. Normal people, just doing the right thing. But these guys went up there, 8.6 kilometers, and because there was a rubber boat there. So what do? You got a team of 10 people. We all get in the rubber boat together. I would now like to introduce the Monty Python version of a Delta team. Come on, you can do it. Here we have 10 people standing up in a boat. It's now starting to take in water. The water then goes in and kills the engine. So the highly trained multi-bolted super trooper team is drifting around in the water until a normal comes saying, "What the fuck are you doing, guys?" So they get and switch the boat. So all 10 people are now there. Then another boat comes and saying, "My God, people are getting killed over here." "Yeah, we're coming. We're full speed ahead." They go. Then they split up into 2 boats and go full speed ahead forward. Well, unfortunately, on this day, somebody in that boat managed to block the sending button on the police radio. So that channel was blocked. If we go to the JFK assassination, one of the police on bikes, motorbike police officers, to the left of the motorcade, just when they pass the Adolphus Hotel before the Dealey Plaza, when they do this very, very horrific turnaround so he could be killed, this guy blocks the sending one, the one that blocks the channel. We're back to blocking. I know, Judith, I know. Accidents happen. Okay, so while this person, or whoever was there, was wandering around slaughtering these teenagers, we're talking more than 1 hour, Breivik is on his mobile talking to the police. Here we are, they say that he made an emergency call 112, but he managed to get to the wrong police station where the guy that picked up the phone happened to be one of the people in charge of the Delta team. I mean, lucky I would say. And here's the recording of the call that I managed to get hold of. Even better if it worked.
Ja, god dag, den her kommandør Anders Behring Breivik i den norske antikommunistiske motstandsbevegelsen. Jeg er på Utøya for øyeblikket. Jeg ønsker å overgi meg. Ok. Hvilket nummer ringer du fra? Jeg ringer fra mobil. Du ringer fra din mobil? Ja. Det er ikke min mobil, en annen. Hva heter det for noe? Hallo? Hallo?
Okay, he makes a second call saying, "Operation completed. Can I please now surrender to Delta team?" How the hell did he know even the name of the Delta team? This is while he's walking around. The teenagers are seeing him going with a mobile at the same time talking with who was someone very closely associated with the Delta team. So, thank God they finally arrived, 2 boats. So what do? They split up. One, they're standing here. This vehicle has never really been identified what that vehicle is. This is on the island. This is where the ferry normally arrives. They get there. They split up into 2 teams and they go like this to find the shooter. Now, they arrest this guy. They approach him. They find him and they call him. They say, "Drop your weapon." He just totally relaxed. Drop the weapons, put out his hand, go down on his knees. They say it's down on your stomach. He goes down. Totally relaxed, like this. Very calm, very cool, like this. So the man that they arrest looks like this. You see blue, no logo, police, everything. Now the guy that is then taken to the main building and interrogated is this guy. Check out the build of this guy. He's quite he's a strong guy, and so on. This guy, check his shoulders, quite not a powerful kind of guy. Gray, blue, logo, no logo, and so on. So, of course, when you surrender and you give up your weapon, you continue shooting for like 5 to 7 minutes. That is the official timeline, and the shooting that people on the mainland kept hearing. You know, the Delta team is there, the shooting continues, the killing continues, but he's arrested. Okay, unidentified black helicopters. The black helicopter is one of my favorite. Always involved in these black ops. When you got CIA, Mossad, MI6, these type of people or NATO involved in these. You get these black helicopters, unidentified and so on. Here you have 1, 2, never identified. So, and here more anti-terror drills. This is how they did at the training with the anti-terror helicopters, sharpshooters fearing them down. This is what they did on the real event. Can you see that, the rubber boat with 10 people? And they were training at the Utøya scenario before, just hours before. So I thought when they had the drill, maybe they would have succeeded better. I mean, can you... Anyway, so we have here... There was not a drill on Utøya, there was a drill with the same scenario.
Vad sa du? På Utøya så var det...
Det var flera stycken som sköt. Mer än en.
Och du stod på vik?
Jag stod rätt utanför på rasteplatsen tvärs över Fröja. Så jag hörde fler än ett vapen på samma gång.
Ja, det betyder rätt och slett att det var mer än en som kört där ute.
Det måste varit fler än en, för det har kört på flera olika ställen på ön samtidigt. Och det hördes jävligt väl tvärs över. Det är 300-400 meter över.
Ja, och så ska anta något. Hur många tror du det var då?
2, 3.
Det var 3 stykker.
3 stykker som skjøt?
3 stykker, ja.
Okay, so we have a slight confusion here. Lone crazy guy or military operation? This girl is the daughter of a high-ranking police officer that were involved also with specially trained forces, as far as I've been able to. She was on the island. She calls her dad saying, "Oh my God, please." Unfortunately, she didn't get hold of her dad, but she got in hold with someone that was closely connected to the Delta team. Okay, so she says, being the daughter of a police, I would give some credibility to her maybe being more knowledgeable than a normal teenager freaking out. She said there were 4 to 5 shooters, all dressed in police uniforms, walking around killing, and that they had hung up explosives in the trees. She then totally disappears. When she's given interviews, they never ask her about that anymore. This guy, he saw 2 shooters. This guy was arrested the same evening. They say because he had a knife and so on. And he has a very strange smile. I must say it's like he's on some kind of weird, but he got arrested. But he was on the island, saw multiple shooters. They saw 3, these 2 guys. He saw 2. And as far as I've been able to find out, the people who have been talking out openly about multiple shooters have now left Norway. They're not there anymore. I don't know. This is what I've been told. So, here we have Anders Breivik, or whoever that individual is. This is from it's an aerial photo of the shooter while it's happening. From a police helicopter, absolutely not, because unfortunately they didn't arrive. But from a press helicopter. And they, by accident or whatever, managed to get this photo of him. This guy is left-handed. If you see, when you, maybe you can't see that, he's standing shooting like this. This man is right-handed. This uniform, which a similar uniform was put forward as evidence that Breivik was walking around in, is not the same uniform as this, because the reflexes are not there. Also, he's said to have a bald spot on top. I just want to say that the helicopter crews of Norway are famous for being incredible pilots. This is an operation. He lands on that thing, drops up people, gets some victim, and take off again. There's so many. Go on YouTube, see these guys. They are incredible. This day, unfortunately, nothing worked. And unfortunately, the info from the island wasn't important enough, so it wasn't inserted into the police logs in Oslo. So the Oslo police was not informed about anything about this while it was happening. And unfortunately, when the ambulances came saying, please let us help them, they were stopped by the police. For security. You're not allowed. So, unfortunately, especially one girl died because she was not giving attendance. She had a Delta team member sitting by her side while she bled to death from a wound that was not fatal to start. It is awful. It is... Unfortunately, the defense helicopter was used but 1 hour after he was captured. I tell you, when I went to that island, I was there on the anniversary, and when you're there and you feel the people, the slaughter, the tragedy, it's so easy to say, well, there was 69 dead, but it is not okay. I just want to say, whoever is watching this, if you think you can scare me off with some Delta clown or whatever, I am not stopping. Anyway, so the ammo that was used, according to some researchers, this is not, I don't know about this, he claims that the ammunition that was used on the island was Vermont silver tip. It's an ammo that is extremely awful. It just totally pulverized, creating maximum impact and damage to the body tissue. Awful, awful. As far as I know, I've only seen this being used by the CIA Special Ops and Mossad Ops. So unfortunately, when all of this ended, and there were all these bodies, unfortunately they couldn't count. So unfortunately, for 2 whole days, the number of dead was 86. And then what was pumped out globally was 190, all of these different numbers, but 86 from official sources, 86. Then it turned out that, I'm sorry, we counted these twice. You know, there was one that, no, but they put a blanket on that one, then they used the same blanket, I don't know, but we screwed up. So from 86, it went down to 69, and then it ended on 77. When you look into these numbers also, sometimes 77 is a number that keeps repeating. There are some 666, 77, and so I'm sure that Mark can tell you a lot more than these things. Unfortunately, the parents were not given the autopsy reports. I mean, why should they? And unfortunately, there were, I think it was 3 families that when they received the bodies of their loved one, 3 families were told that they had drowned. Well, when they opened the coffins, there were bullet holes in their children. I mean, I'm sorry, bad eyesight, what can you say? Why, oh why, oh why? When you go to Oslo today, these buildings have not been repaired. It's 4 years ago. They have not been repaired. They're like a monument of death and destruction. The whole area is not repaired. It's just standing there. You see the wind. I've taken these photos. All of that, you know, wooden things. And of course, the government building. I asked people in Oslo, where's the government? We don't know. And what is going on in these buildings that is abandoned? I don't know. This whole thing is, I've taken this photo as well. It looks like, that's nice. They managed to get all of it back the way it was before. This is plastic. This is printed plastic. All of this is printed like, but you need to go really close to see it. There's where the new museum is. Can you see it's, okay, this is the only evidence that Breivik was in Oslo. And of course you can totally see that it's the same guy, same build as this bulky guy that was arrested, and so on. So it's great that we have good evidence at least. Also, I would say never trust, Freudian slip, never doubt the evidence, because a photograph will never lie. Fancy her? Dick Cheney's sister. So never ever question evidence. You should not do that. And by the way, if you notice, all the photos of Breivik has a white background. Somebody has done a very awful job with Photoshop, not very clever, in how they... Oh, sorry. How they create the evidence. I would say also white hand, slightly darker face, and slightly different face. I just put it there to make a point. Oh, sorry. So, but of course, you cannot doubt that he was a Freemason, but because you have seen photos that he is a Freemason with a white background and a diver or whatever it is. By the way, he was also using the exact same weapons as Timothy McVeigh is told to have done. And who's that? Well, this is Breivik's body, but I don't know who the face is. So never doubt the evidence. The same person. That is the photo of the police ID that he had with him when he identified himself. That is the guy who's the Freemason. Whoops. Caught. Arrested. I don't know about you, but I'm sort of like, I'm not totally convinced here. What are we looking at? Okay, people that are similar. Is it the same guy? Is that the same guy? Would you even think it was? Is that the same guy? That the same guy? Well, he used the same bomb as McVeigh, Timothy McVeigh, who, by the way, was a CIA operative for many years, who's said to have been executed. Unfortunately, when the people who were there witnesses his execution, they said he was still breathing. And unfortunately, he had already spoken to some of the other prisoners on death row, saying that, don't worry, they're not going to kill me. I'm being greatly rewarded on the other side, and so on. So also, please notice, if this is said to have been a fertilizer bomb, do you see a difference? This was not a fertilizer bomb either, but they claim that both of them were fertilizer bombs. He's said to have exactly the same weapons as Timothy McVeigh. The Ruger Mini 17, the Glock 34. And he has exactly the same manifesto as the Unabomber. It's 1,560 pages of absolute, I don't know what. But thank God we can trust Facebook, because it was uploaded after he was arrested. So we know for sure that it must have been him, since he was in jail. And it was a copy-paste of, is that 10 minutes? Yes. Copy and paste from the Unabomber. They've just changed something so it was more Muslim-oriented. Okay, so here's the Utøya. Here is the war center of Norway. This is where the entrance, what it looks like. You're not supposed to know that, but there it is. This can take more than 600 people. It's called Sentralanlegget, I think. And it's there. That's where the island is. Whoops. That's where the Delta team put in the rubber boat. Whoops. That's where the ferry got stuck. Whoops. That's where all of the helicopters landed. I'm not saying anything. It's just that it's quite close. Okay, then we have, thank God for good lawyers, because if you notice when these things happen, the lawyer comes out and says many times, my client is absolute mad. My client knows that he's done awful atrocities and killed loads of people. The lawyers of these patsies are there, they're painting them black. In my world, a lawyer should defend whoever he's representing. This one not. Well, it comes to a point where there's some odd things about this lawyer type of guy, because he and Breivik had a company before, and they used to share lunchroom, but they don't know each other. They never saw each other, even though they shared the same lunchroom. And by coincidence, it's the same building as Stay Behind used as headquarters for many years. Stay Behind Gladio, I don't know if you're aware of it, that is a ghost, it's NATO's ghost army that is behind so much terror activity in the Western world you cannot even imagine. Please listen to the lawyer, what he says.
Han klar over alvorligheten I det som har skjedd?
Han har fått opplyst hvor fantastisk, eller hvor forferdelig omfanget av denne saken det utrolige omfanget av antall døde og skadede. Så han kjent med det.
Han klar over alvorligheten I det som har skjedd?
Han har fått opplyst hvor fantastisk, eller hvor forferdelig omfanget av denne saken.
Okay, thank you. I know I'm running out of time, so I'm just going to say I went to, he said, my client knows how how horrible it was what he committed with all the dead and so. He said, horrible. Okay, so I went to the prison where Breivik is now, and I'm not going to go into a lot of details, but one of the things that Chip Tatum, a whistleblower that is now a bit of a friend of mine, my website is on his server and so on, he was the commander of the death squad under direct control of George Bush Sr. They carried out at least 17 assassinations in Europe and so on, but he's become a whistleblower, and he's really doing everything he can to redeem himself by exposing as much as possible. He told me that he used to be one of these black helicopter pilots as well, flying in people to prisons, army bases and so on, where the famous doctors, he called them, was doing odd, weird things with them. He flew them in, he flew them out, and then they were used in different operations. He said that these were often carried out in small like institutions, prisons, and so on. And one of the main things that was needed was a small airstrip nearby without flight towers so that they can fly in and out without being too much observed, and also so that they could be left without disturbance. Anyway, I went there. It's a very small prison. It's only the most important prisoner in Norway's history. No barbed wire, no nothing. And it's in the outskirts of an industrial area in Skien. Anyway, my friend, he said, I want to show you something, because very close to the wall of this thing, and I want to say also, Chip said, often these institutions are surrounded by companies and buildings that is part of CIA ops. They are like a neutral organizations or companies there to keep people away. They're often like car import, furniture import, internet security, these type of companies, sometimes body armor connected to the military and so on. So here there was when we went around the corner, there was this very neutral building with 6 carports, no windows, and a little office building where it says auto import and a phone number. When I saw that, I was like, wait, hang on. No Eskil's auto import or US auto import or Skien's just auto import. I don't even think you can register that name as a company. So I was like, whoa, hang on. And he said, my friend, which is actually the husband of Ingunn Sigurdsdatter, who was one of the speakers here last year, he said, I want to show you something. So we went around this very neutral looking building, and very close, that's the wall, the prison wall, there was this container that is not supposed to be visible from the road. It's only that they take walks in the forest there and have come out there several times. I don't know if you know about Evergreen, but as far as I know, Evergreen is one of the CIA main companies when it comes to the whole chemtrail thing, with all the different planes, with all type of different special ops. That container is so close to the prison where Anders Behring Breivik is. And it says here, American Bureau of Shipping. I took the serial numbers, I did all of these things, and then I said to my friend, by any chance, is there an airstrip nearby? Or do you mean that one on the other side of the hill? If you look at Breivik, the way he's appearing, he's talking, and so on, it could be a lot of connection with mind control, I would say. So what are we looking at? Is this a CIA special ops controlled prison, part of mind control, part of these operations, connected with Gladion, connected with NATO and so on. I just want to point out also that when they do these killings, often there's a ritualistic, very sinister thing involved as well. And Mark Devlin, you, if anyone knows, there's a lot of strange things around the death of Amy Winehouse, and that was at the exact same time, so that you got it on the same Amy dying for the dead, boom, boom, boom. I do not know. And by the way, this was a photo session. She's still alive with a Mickey Mouse mind control mask next to her, blood alike. This was a normal photo session for a pop star. It's not her dead. This was taken way before. So, I would say, when somebody tries to blow up the government building, where's the Prime Minister? Let's protect him. Well, unfortunately, he was left without protection until 6:30 in the evening, because they were so focused on trying to do absolute nothing. Unfortunately, the Home Guard had no ammunition. They were not called in. When they were called in, they sent somebody to get ammunition, but he was not allowed to get that. He didn't have the right paper filled out. And unfortunately, when they finally got the radios that could communicate them with the rest of the rescue teams, the batteries were flat. They needed recharging. So that was another hour there. Unfortunately, it took 77, here we go, the number again, minutes for national alarm to be sent out. Small country. Should we close the border? We have a terrorist? No, I don't think so. Let's give them a call in an hour or two. Unfortunately, the police helicopter had been repainted, so they couldn't use it because they would scratch the color, and they needed to put back all the antennas and so on. So that wasn't used either. It came up 9 minutes past 7 in the evening. Okay, I will make this quick, but I tell you, I need to point these things out. When I look at these big ones, one of the things that keep repeating are members of the Bilderberg group. Before, during, after. Look for these. If you don't know about the Bilderberg group, please look it up. It's part of the world shadow government. Now, Jens Stoltenberg, who after this whole thing was the hero, the father of the country, uniting the nation against, in the face of terror, we have to stand up and not let us defeat. Okay, Bilderberger, his dad. I'm coming to his dad. That's his dad, Thorvald Stoltenberg. Involved in a lot of shady business, I would say. You got Jens there, and you got Gro Harlem Brundtland. Gro Harlem Brundtland is a former Prime Minister of Norway, and she's been way up in the elite. She is also one of the main architects behind Agenda 21. If you do not know pure madness before in printed form, please read Agenda 21. It will blow you away. She went to the island. She was on the island with the young teenagers and left the island just 1 hour or so before the shooter arrived to the island. Okay. Then Jens Stoltenberg was the whole thing during. He was there and all of that. And the youth party leader, do you remember him, Eskil? Who so bravely jumped on the ferry and took off in a totally different direction, not trying to save anyone. He, according to some sources, is the illegitimate son of Jens Stoltenberg. Okay, look at this guy. Look, this is after the whole thing. Look at this thing, look at this thing, this thing. Okay. So I would say, dear Eskil, you behave like an absolute traitor, a coward. How could you? It's even, according to Norwegian law, a crime to leave somebody in the water drowning. You have to try and rescue them by law. Why is he not persecuted? Why is he treated like this by the Prime Minister? Why? And these guys, I don't know if they look alike, but I think there are similarities. And apparently that could very well be his granddad. So, Jens Stoltenberg at the memorial in one of the main churches in Oslo. You got the majesties there, you got all type of celebrities, high-ranking people, family members and so on. So, of course, how does he say in the speech?
Deres Majesteter, Kjære Eskil, kjære alle sammen.
What the hell was that? It says, Your Majesty, dear Eskil, and dear all the rest of you. He was number 2 mentioned. I would say a bit odd. Now, Gro Harlem Brundtland, I told you about her before. Very, very, when you look into her, extremely criminal person, I would say. Agenda 21, she was at the island before. She is celebrated as the mother of the nation. The Bilderberg Group, all the companies connected to this small little group, and so on, where they are central members in the whole thing. So what is really going on? You got Bilderberger, maybe future Bilderberger, Mona Sahlin Bilderberger, and I believe, I'm not sure about this guy, at Utøya. Now, Norway had just before this happened announced that they were going to leave the bombings of Libya and Afghanistan because it was totally against humanity to do that. They announced that they will scale down its fighter jet contribution in Libya from 6 to 4 planes and withdraw completely from the NATO-led operation by August 1. Okay. Sorry? Okay. Also, there was a lot of problems because Norway was supporting Palestine, and that is not a healthy thing to do in these times. So the PST boss in Norway said a week afterwards, don't worry, everything is calm, you don't need to fear anything. How can you say that if you do not maybe know what was happening, what happened? Pointing things out, I'm not saying for sure, pointing details out. Then we have this gentleman in the West. He can speak for himself.
We occasionally have to twist the arms of countries that wouldn't do what we need them to do. We occasionally have to twist the arms of countries that wouldn't do what
I think it's a Mossad, CIA, MI6 operation. And so the whole thing's a setup. Will they ever get to the root of it? I don't know.
Okay, so cui bono, who benefits, follow the money, standard procedure at any crime. So after this terror thing, suddenly, as far as I've been able to find out, NATO was appointed honorary member of NATO. Sorry, Norway was appointed honorary member of NATO. From being wanted to withdraw, suddenly back in line, being quiet, not raising any questions, honorary member. And Jens Stoltenberg, the Prime Minister of Norway, who said, I take full responsibility for everything that happened that day, police, ambulance, that is a very clever way of taking away the responsibility from everyone else, saying everything went fine. There's no people that was discharged or thrown out or dishonored in any way. Instead, some people's career went woof, like this. And Jens Stoltenberg was suddenly appointed NATO Secretary General, 2014. I'm almost done. Bye-bye. Now go back to sleep. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay. What to do, that is the big question. And I just want to end with this. I'm not here to spread fear, hate, anger, all of this. I'm here to do my part of healing this world. Because it's enough, we're tired, you know. I just want to make music. I am so fed up with this, you know. And so many people, I just, you know, let's solve this problem, let's transcend it, let's have a beer and a party, and let's get on with creating the world the way it's supposed to be, beyond this. But apparently, life does this on our face. When if we don't wake up, it will hit us a bit harder. If we don't wake up, it will still. And this is the sledgehammer, and we're still asleep. So come on, guys, and myself included. It is not okay. I would very much like to finish with a prayer that I totally believe in. Not that I'm a religious person, but it's a prayer made by my Raja Yoga teacher. That's Raja Yoga for the mind, with an illustration made by my friend Thomas here somewhere. Beautiful illustration. And it goes like this. May the entire universe be filled with peace and joy, love and light. May everyone, and especially the ones who hurt us, be filled with peace and joy, love and light. We all need to heal. If they don't heal, that will just continue. And if anyone's interested, I've got my books. Finally, I can tell you a long story how these books have been tried to be stopped for many, many years. But now, finally, I published them on Amazon. Coup d'etat in slow motion about the assassination of the Swedish Prime Minister in great detail. It's almost 1,000 pages with the connection into all of this crap, including direct connection with the JFK assassination, Estonia, Iran-Contras, you name it. So please spread this information and see what you can do to make this stop. I really want to salute you for being here. I really want to thank you for your patience. I'm sorry that I went over time, but I thought it was important. So.